LA come to visit me just after the new year. So here we are in the new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
And I was thinking about this experience because when she came into town, she started asking me what my goals were for the year. And I listed off a bunch of stuff. And she says, "Oh, well, those are all professional goals. What about personal goals?" And I went, "What?" I did. I was like, "Wait, what? I can make personal goals?"
Yeah.
And my voice, I'm sure, got squeaky because I squeak when that happens. And so that was a rude awakening when I suddenly realized in the 90s that I could make personal goals. Um, I had never thought about my life that way. I thought goals were like a thing that you set for your professional life, career or health or wellness or, something. But I never thought about making goals for my personal life until my friend put it to me that way. And I thought, oh, no wonder my personal life nothing's really going on there. Oops.
Yeah, nothing happens if nothing happens, right?
Nothing happens if nothing happens.
So we're talking about goals,
Yeah.
and we're talking about love goals for 2023. We're really excited for
Yes.
this particular love intervention. I just let the cat out of the bag. That's what we're doing here.
We are doing a love intervention. So, what are your goals? That's what we're going to talk about today. It's our topic. Now, you don't have to ask us about this topic. You can ask us anything.
That's
However, we're going to talk for a bit about goals in your personal life, particularly goals when it comes to love. So, what are your goals? If you've set some, put them in the chat. We're going to read them.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your goals if you have goals for your love life in 2023.
But I have a feeling most of the people that are showing up actually are here because they haven't said any. And they're like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Like me in the 90s when I was like, what? So there's a lot of different ways you can do this. We, in the fall of 2021, so a little over a year ago, we were back east visiting with friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we went, I had arranged for this triple double date. So it was 3 couples. And I was friends with the 2 guys in those couples. And one of them had been married since I'd seen him last. And the other had a new girlfriend. And Matthew had not, well, you'd met one of those guys, but you'd only met one of those other 4 people. And so the guy that was married, that had gotten married since I'd seen him last, they'd been married a few years. She worked in the government.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going now. I'm like, where are you going with this story?
So we asked how they met, and they had met online dating. So, of course, because of what we do, we're curious or nosy or both. And we started asking them a bunch of questions about when they met. And the funny thing is she works in the government of the United States of America. And there was a government shutdown the year that they started dating. And so the government had a shutdown, so she had time off. And she gave herself a personal challenge. Oh.
Yeah.
And so she decided that in the time of a government shutdown that she was going to go on 6 dates. 6 dates. And so she starts telling the story about them meeting online, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, my friend Robert was 5 of those 6 dates, only because she'd gone out with one other guy first before connecting with Robert. And so I thought that was funny. So she spent basically the whole government shutdown, however many days or weeks that was back then, several years ago. And so I thought that was kind of a hilarious sort of way to do it. So again, nothing changes unless, you sort of set some ideas. So that's one way to do it. You can challenge yourself.
You can challenge yourself to do a certain amount of dates or to get your profile on a certain amount of websites and apps, right? That's one challenge. That's a really specific challenge that's about dating. But I want to talk about when setting goals for the year when it comes to your love life, maybe coming up with a theme for the year, right? We just did this actually just last night. We were out to dinner with friends, and we were talking about our personal theme word for the year. And mine was flow. Getting in the flow.
Came up with it.
And feeling that I came up with it actually through the conversation. But what we came up with for me was flow, being in the flow. I want to be more in the flow and work and everything else in my life. So that's my theme word for the year.
Yeah.
What's your theme word?
My theme word is balance. Balance. Because I always say I learned a phrase I had never heard before in my work life when I started working with my husband. We've been working together, more than 13 years?
13 years.
More than a baker's dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, baker's dozen is 13. So we started working together, and here we are still working together all these years later. But Matthew would say, so we're going to finish that, and then it's the end of the day. Does anybody else not know what this means? Or am I the only one? Because I would look at him and I'd be like, the end of the what? The who? The who? Like, you're saying words, and they I know what they mean, but the end of the who? What? Right. So basically, I'm outing myself as the workaholic of the two of us because I'm like, oh, work is just in the other room. I could sit there all day, all night, all morning.
So we'd love to hear. We hear the video's really choppy. So we've been having video sound issues. Unfortunately, not much we can do about it.
Yeah, now that we've started, we did everything we could, and it remedied it to go out and come back in. But if we go out, you'll all be gone. So we can't do that again.
See if I do. And then unmute.
I don't think.
Let us know, Serena, if that helps.
There's nothing. It's a Vimeo issue, and we're running this through Vimeo. So we'll send them the back email when we're done with this. But at 3 minutes to 5, when the team told us that we sound choppy, it's on their end. There's nothing different on our end. So I don't know what there is to do about it.
So we're just going to keep plugging along. We'd love to hear if you can understand us.
Yeah.
If you have a word for the day.
A word or a phrase or anything.
Yeah, she said it's back again.
Yeah, I don't. It literally, we go out, we come back in, it sounds fine, and then after 3 minutes, you don't sound good. So maybe if we chop people and chop on the other side. I don't think it works.
I could try this. Let's just try switching
to this microphone and then switching back to this
microphone.
All right. Somebody tell us if that's a spend the whole time looking for, maybe that worked.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll try it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to keep stopping and fiddling with the
No, I don't either.
So here we are talking about goals, love goals, personal goals. What are your personal goals for the year? It's a brand new year, 2023. On the 22nd of January is the Lunar New Year. So for Chinese New Year, we're going to move from the year of the tiger to the year of the rabbit or the hare. And it's a water hare. I don't know what that means, but I know it's going to be a water hare year. And so I'm looking forward to hearing that. Thanks, Serena, for letting us know you hear us.
So Serena,
Yay.
since you're jumping in there and typing, why don't you see if you have a theme word for the year? And
a theme,
everybody
word,
else who's here, share your theme word for the year. If you don't have one yet, maybe it's a great opportunity to choose a theme word.
Yeah, and it doesn't, look, people do this all kinds of different ways. You can, I don't know why resolutions somehow got a bad rap, but for years I don't know if they were resolutions. I think I always kind of looked at them more like goals about what I wanted to accomplish in a year, and I usually put a lot on my plate.
Serena chose balance.
That's a good one. That's mine.
All
I
right.
like that. Balance. So for me, it's really about work-life balance. We love our clients. We love our work.
Tina says connecting. That's a good one. I like it.
That's a good word. So what steps are you going to take? That's my question to Serena and to Tina. This is where we're going to go from just sort of throwing out some things about coming up with a word. What actions are you willing to take to create balance or to create more connection? So the thing about having a goal, you can put that goal out there, like I want to do this year, whatever that is. Flow, balance, connection.
Angela says relax.
Relax. All right. So what are you going to do to create it? So the biggest mistake people make, who wants to know the biggest mistake? Anything? The biggest mistake people make at the beginning of the year, the number one mistake as a manifestation coach, I will tell you, is that people try to change everything all at once. And so they want to change every part of their life, and they put too much on their plate. And by mid-February, beginning of March, they're back to doing their same old thing they did last year in 2022. Does anybody have this? Anybody?
We have another Angela who says focus.
Hey, Angela.
She says her goal is to meet her soulmate and get engaged.
I like it. Angela, it's so good to see you. Hi. Welcome back. It's been a while. So look, you've got to set up your steps. So you can have the goal, right? Like I want to get to here, but how are you going to get there? So you got to make steps. You got to make an action plan. You got to chunk things down and things that you can do. So Angela, if you're going to relax some more, what does that mean? Are you planning on having a nap every afternoon, like a siesta time? Are
I
you
like that.
maybe going to meditate?
That's a good one.
Have some focus, some inner peace.
That's a good one.
Craft some more inner peace by starting a meditation practice, and maybe you're doing that in the mornings, maybe you're doing that in the evenings. But the goal is to pick the thing. The goal. I said the goal. The goal is to pick the goal. Yeah. See how I did that? Pick the goal. Pick the thing. Now add one thing that you're doing consistently towards that goal.
And you want to chunk it down, right? You don't want to say, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to make sure to be relaxed all day tomorrow, right? No.
No.
You're gonna say, this is one thing I'm gonna try to incorporate into my day in order to get closer towards feeling balance, connection, relaxation, focus, being on the journey, right? All of those things. And so you're gonna take a small action towards that goal. The other thing you're going to do...
Regular action.
A small regular... Right, I'm getting there. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to track your progress.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to set up... I like little spreadsheets. Those are fun for tracking progress. You can do it on your phone. There's a lot of different ways you can track your progress. To me, I print out a spreadsheet and I stick it on the wall or on the door. And then when I do the thing, I put the date and I make a little X. And I say, on this date, I did it. Right? And then the next day when I do it, a new date, and then I put a little X. And then, I skipped the next day, so I don't have an X on that day.
Excellent.
But then I go the next day, I picked it back up again. I got an X there. Right, and I can track my progress. And it doesn't mean I have to be perfect. But when I track my progress, then I can go, oh, look, I have, I've made some progress towards the end of my goal.
Okay, so Angela says she's blocking an hour a day to review and respond to app matches. So I have a question. If this is the Angela I'm thinking that it is, it might be the Angela in our mentoring group. So if this is the Angela in our mentoring group, just put yes. Because I think you are the Angela in our mentoring group, and that means we can give you some really more specific tools just for you when we have our next group. And I don't mind that you jumped in here. I think that's awesome. But I will say an hour a day might be a lot, depending on your regular overall schedule. What if you have a really crappy day at work? You're going to come home and get online to respond to people? You're going to skip that day. So if you are looking to get dates online and you're online dating, you only want to open that thing up to review and respond to people when you're in a good mood. Do not expect to go into that app and then come out of it in a better mood. You might not. So you want to go into it, though, with a good mood. So you want to be really conscious about the steps that you're taking, because when you're online dating, you actually should be looking for reasons to say yes, not reasons to say no. And if you've had a really crappy day at work and then you start scrolling and swiping, you're going to be in a bad mood, and that's going to eat into your mindset as you're scrolling. So you want to get yourself in a good mood. So you could have had a bad day at work, and then get yourself in a good mood before you start scrolling. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Angela's going to tell me if it's the Angela in our...
Might not be.
You can say no or yes. If you're not that Angela, I want to know no. If you are that Angela, say yes, just so that we have an idea, so we can help you some more specifically. But here's the thing, like Angela had a... no, not Angela. They're both Angela. That's why things are confusing. So Angela on Facebook... Yes, mentoring groups. Awesome. Okay, so we'll be able to help you some more specifically. So the other Angela from Facebook, Angela with a B. Right, the other Angela. Okay, good. So Angela B from Facebook, she said focus and that she wants to meet her soulmate and get married this year. That's a really specific goal, and I love it because it also has an end date on it. So it's not just a wish, right? So a goal is something that you desire with a date on it, ideally. You have a date on it. Otherwise, it's like a wish. So if you want to be in, like, find your soulmate this year, this calendar year, that means you have an end date before, like your goal is to have that happen before December 31st of 2023. So what you want to do then is chunk it into what's something you can do consistently. So online dating is a great opportunity, and I love this idea of focus behind this, to focus on finding your soulmate. And the thing I want you to understand is it's you that's setting the goal and then setting the parameters around it. So there's some things that if it's entirely in your control, you can do that every day, right? Like sitting and meditating and taking a siesta or a nap in the afternoon, right?
Or going onto an online dating app or a dating site.
Yeah, and how often you go on those. But again, you also want to manage your mindset. If you've had a bad day, if you've had a bad week, it's okay to take time off if you're not feeling up to snuff. But you do want to put yourself in a good mood to start swiping or to even go on a date. So just for fun, because we love to over-deliver, why don't we do a little bit of mood change?
Before we do that, why don't we do what it says in the website?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters, and this is Love's Intervention. We are here to intervene in your love life, to get you off the path of frustration, heartache, and on the path of long-lasting, soul-satisfying.
Or even maybe lonely, or you know what, your life is ticking along just fine, but you really want to share it. That's okay too. We're here to intervene and make your life easier.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us will talk to people and they're like, I don't even know if I want to do this. Everything's great right now. And I'm like, what a great time to find somebody. Right? You don't have to be like, I need to leave. We're about over here. So, that the sound problem. You want to change the mic and change the mic.
We can do that again.
I don't know if that's the thing. We're having a sound issue, but it's not on our end. Something in the whole metaverse. I don't know. All right. We're doing our best over here. I don't know what a soulmate relationship looks like. How do you focus on that? But I just want someone who is kind and treats me well. I'm sick of dating emotionally manipulative guys who don't ever commit. How can I break out of this pattern? That's a great question, Andrea. We'll get back to that in just a second. I really want to look at this goal setting idea. That's a better question for when we start opening things up a bit to those kinds of questions. I think what we really want to say is that when you set a goal, you want to have the goal, whether it's big or small, it doesn't really matter. But then you want to take the goal and chunk it down into smaller steps, things that you have control over that you can do regularly. So regularly means daily. It can mean twice a week. It can mean 3 times a week. It can be once a week. And I know going on a date isn't entirely under your control.
Right.
But if you set the time aside and you have the plan to go on 2 to 3 dates a week, if you're looking for your soulmate, you've got to have the time in your calendar, the time for it to go on 2 to 3 dates a week. And when I tell our clients they should be going on 2 to 3 dates a week, they kind of look at me like I'm a little like, brr. What I want to say is, they're like, how am I supposed to find that kind of time? I'm like, if you don't have the time to date 2 to 3 dates a week, you don't have time for a relationship. And what happens is people think backwards. They think that they'll magically find the time when they magically find the person to spend it with. And that's actually not how it works. You've got to make the time to meet people and go on 2 to 3 dates a week before you're ever going to find that person.
Yeah, so if your goals are around dating, that's a great way to think about it. But there's other goals when it comes to love and relationship. You could make a goal to be less judgmental, right? You could make a goal to have more compassion for yourself and others, which is really less judgmental, right? You can have a goal to, let go of something that's been dragging you down from the past, some old heartbreak or some person in your past that you can't seem to, your heart still has some old emotional strings. So maybe your goal this year is going to be, you're going to free yourself from that energy and you're going to find some more peace of mind. So I want to really open this up, that your goals around love don't necessarily have to just be about dating and how many dates you're getting. Your goals can be all kinds of different things. You just really want to think about what's most going to serve you, which is why when we started, we talked about this idea of having a theme word, because the theme sort of sets the tone for the whole thing about how you approach it. And then you start taking small daily actions. So like if you're gonna say, we'll get to you, Paul, in a second. Sorry, I just got distracted by that question. You're gonna say my goal is to release judgment, right? To be less judgmental. So how am I gonna do that, right? Well, because I noticed for myself that was one of the sources of frustration and unhappiness in my life. It was one of the things that would drag my energy down. And when my energy was down, I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel like doing a lot of things. When I was like, oh God, the world sucks. People suck. Right? When you're in that mindset, it's not helpful. You're not getting what you want. You're not able to create what you want because you don't have that oomph, that energy in it. So one of the things I did was I started reframing how I was thinking about the people around me. And the first thought was to just notice how I was thinking about the people around me. So that would be step one. Be more aware of when I'm having judgmental thoughts. Okay. So that way, see, my first step.
That's a good step one.
That's a good step one. So now I'm not thinking, okay, I'm going to release judgment tomorrow, or I'm going to release judgment starting right now. I'm going to stop judging myself and others right now. No. Why don't I just notice when I'm having a judgmental thought and what those thoughts are so I can become aware of the pattern. So you want to break it down into a small thing that is doable, and that even if you don't get it right, it's not going to like suck all your energy out of your goals.
I love that you used that example, and it made me come up with a really specific one for Tina. So Tina said her goal for the year is connecting or connection, right? More connection. So I'm going to chunk it down in the same way Matthew did, right? So if connecting is your word for the year and you want to have more connection, then the first step is to be aware of where you're creating disconnection. Mm-hmm. And there's only one of two ways that human beings create disconnection. And it works like this. Either we create disconnection by saying, I'm less than these other people or this other person. Or we create disconnection by saying, I'm better than these people or this particular person. So if you start noticing where you're creating disconnection, you can change your inner dialogue from creating disconnection to creating more connection. So the question, Tina, to ask yourself when you're noticing that you're creating disconnection is to ask yourself, where are we similar? And you can do this with a group of people, or you can do this with an individual. You can say, if you're creating disconnection from a person, and you're like, I don't know, I'll use Matthew as an example, and I'm like, I'm so much better than this guy. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks he knows everything, but I know that I know better. I know better than him, blah, blah, whatever, right? So that's how I'd be creating disconnection, right, instead of connection. So if I'm thinking I'm better than, the way to create connection is to go, well, where are we similar? And I could say, oh, gosh, he's really curious. He keeps asking me all these questions. He's actually curious about me. Oh, that's sweet. You know, I just instantly got into connection. Right? Or you could do it the other way, where you feel less than. And I could be like, oh, gosh, I'm so nervous. This guy is so cute. I find him so hot. I totally like, I'm blushing because I do think you're hot. It's so weird to say it out loud to everybody else listening. But it's like, I could create this connection feeling like I'm less than. And so in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a hot guy, and how am I going to impress him? And how am I going to win him over, right? And I'm thinking, I'm less than, God, he's so smart. He just does all this clever thing. What do I do, right? So you can get out of that by creating connection. And instead of feeling less than, is to take the focus off of yourself and to start asking the hot guy questions. So you can ask the hot guy, what did you do today that really inspired you?
That's a good question. I'm doing it right now.
Or you could just ask them anything. So here's the thing. When you ask and you put the focus on the other person, if you're feeling less than, if you're somebody who tends to feel less than and you're creating disconnection that way, oh, it's so much easier to just put the focus on the other person and start asking them things. Like you could literally go, wow, those are cool shoes. Those are really cool. Do you remember the name? Is that on there? I like that. I want to find out the brand.
You have to pause the site.
Ah.
Go again.
I'm glad we don't have to go back
Fix.
out in though.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
hopefully Tina let us know.
Hopefully y'all can hear us better. So basically, I'm going to say that again because I thought it was kind of important, is that you can take the focus off of you feeling less than by stop focusing on you altogether and put all your focus on the other person and start asking them questions like, those are really cool glasses. What, those frames they're really nice. They look so great. What make? Do you remember what make those are?
It's some famous designer. I can't remember his name, but thank you. I can hear. Why don't we look? We can go. Oh, they're Stark.
Wow. I'm out with the hot guy. See how that works? So I want you to get that you don't have to be worried about getting all the way to your goal. Did you notice, like, one of the first things Matthew said was, I'm not focusing on, okay, I'm going to stop being judgmental today and I'm not going to do that anymore. That's an unrealistic goal. You will be in judgment again, especially if
and you're just going to feel bad. You're going to judge yourself because you keep judging yourself and other people.
So don't set the step you want to take towards the bigger goal. You don't want to make that something so unrealistic that you end up feeling bad about yourself that you don't attain it. So you want to reach a small goal like you're climbing a ladder, and then set another that's within your grasp, and then set another that's within your grasp, and then another, and then another, and then another, and make your way all the way to the bigger goal, like something like at the end of the year where you're with your soulmate or engaged, right? You could totally get engaged this year if that is your goal and you want to be really specific about it and you're saying, I want one of these babies before the end of the year. You can totally do that. As a matter of fact, do you want to tell the story about our vision boards on New Year's of 2008?
So on January of 2007, I went to a yearly vision board party that I went to with a friend of mine, my friend Tori, who always hosted these, and I created my vision board. And on that vision board, there were 2 or 3 pictures of women, and they were all sort of turned to the side, so you couldn't see their faces really well, but you could see that they all had dark curly hair. And so Orna and I, of course, connected in August of 2007, and we're solidly dating before the end of the year. And then Tori said, hey, Matthew, when you come to the vision board party, and I know Orna's coming, can you bring last year's vision board with you? It's like, oh, okay. So we walk in, and I go, okay, here's my vision board for last year. Notice all the curly-haired women, and here's my woman. Now, that didn't happen just like magically, like poof, I put it on a vision board and it happened, right? The vision board is so, let's talk about this, about visualization and visioning and doing vision boards and the whole purpose of that. So there's a phrase we use pretty commonly, and it goes like this: I just can't see myself doing that. Right? Maybe you're going to be skydiving or bungee jumping, or maybe you're going to stand
give
up
a
and
eulogy,
speak in front of 300 people, or like in, you've got to give a eulogy or something, and you just go, boy, I can't see myself doing that. And when you say that, you're speaking a literal truth, because what you're saying is, I can't create a picture in my mind where I see myself doing that action. And because I can't create a picture in my mind doing that action, it feels impossible and or improbable that I'll be doing that action. So when you can see it, then your brain starts thinking about it differently.
Mm-hmm.
When you can see it, it's like suddenly it feels different. It's I can see that thing. It feels like it's in reach. It doesn't feel like it's a mystery out there somewhere in the future. It's a hope, it's a wish. No, it's like a picture. It's like this. Oh, I know what that looks like. So now part of you starts going, how do we steer Matthew towards that thing? How do we start making that happen? And we start looking for evidence.
Yeah. And so the thing about the vision board is it takes something that's in your mind's eye and it makes it tangible. It's like, boom, it's right there in front of you. And so every year when we create our vision boards, we make it the screensaver on our desktop computers. We're always sitting in our computers working. Mm-hmm. And so we have that vision board image right there, right? And we might put the actual vision board we've made, not digital, but tangible 3D somewhere also where we're going to see it regularly. Because it takes that thing and says, oh, this is what I'm looking to have. So the other thing that happened, I just have to cap this off with this,
Yeah.
is at the end of the vision board party. Oh, you're so sweet to apologize. Thank you for telling us. You don't have to apologize. You can just say echo, and we're gonna catch it. Matthew do this weird thing where he switches the mics around. Yeah, I don't know why it's really have everything set up the way we always do. We're having a weird echo today.
Yeah.
Mercury is in retrograde till the 29th of January. I can't wait till it comes out of retrograde because we have technology problems up the yin yang when it does that. It's all up in my yin yang anyway. So. Okay, vision board party, 2008. We'd been dating since the fall, and here we are at the end of the vision board party, and everybody starts sharing their vision board. So on my vision board, I don't think there was a face of anybody, whatever, but it was like a hand with an engagement ring, and I had clipped the words "I said yes" was one thing on part of my vision board. It said "I said yes" with the diamond ring. And at the end of the day, everybody was sharing their vision board. And when I turned held mine up to the room, and I was like, "Oh, here's some career stuff, and here's this," and I pointed at Matthew. I was like, "Well," I said, "Yes." There's this guy at the vision board party who starts screaming at me. I'm not kidding. He raised his voice and everything. He says, "You can't do that. You can't tell him you're going to say yes. You can't tell him you're going to say." He has to wonder whether you're going to say yes or not. I literally just started laughing. I was like, I don't know what energy you have on this, but This is my vision board. And by the way, this is my life that I'm creating, and I can do anything I want. I thought it was weird that he thought the guy had to be left in the dark and you shouldn't talk about whether you're going to share your lives together. I was like, what
It's
world?
Very strange.
I don't know who that guy was. I still, all these years later, I have no idea who that was, but I was like, that's so not the way I think about this thing. When he started yelling at me, and I was like, whatever. And I literally look at Matthew, and I was like, no pressure. Everything told me that he had shown me like every step of the way. I never wondered where this relationship was going to go. And I think that's a lot of why we want to share the journey that we went on, but also the journey that we've led our clients through, because a lot of times we have these false beliefs about how things are supposed to go.
Right.
And I will tell you that your journey to love, I hope it doesn't look like mine. Most of you know, I think, that I'm a survivor of domestic violence. So, I would never want somebody to go on the same journey I went on. I hope it's a lot less traumatizing. But everybody's is a little bit unique. But one of the things that's true is you have to believe that you are worthy of love. And so I think it's such an important thing to know that you're worthy of the love that you desire, because for so many years, I didn't think that I was worthy. And I didn't get married till after 40, but most of my adult life, I didn't have a goal of getting married. So, it wasn't something that felt like it was in my grasp. It was kind of like what Matthew was saying. Like I couldn't see myself doing that because I didn't really believe anybody would want to marry me. So It just wasn't something I focused on. Let's get to some questions.
But before we do that, let's do that.
Yeah, stop pointing up the thing. That's weird.
I didn't point at anything.
But you started to. You go first.
I am Matthew Walters.
Hi, everybody. I'm Orna Walters.
And this is Love Intervention. We are here to intervene in your love life to get you on the path to long-lasting, soul-satisfying love. Yes, we have all kinds of great questions. I want to start with Paul's questions here because I think this is perfect. Paul says, my goal is to find my soulmate this year. What do you think is my first step? Honestly, I don't know where to begin.
Well, the first place to begin is what does that look like for you? Mm-hmm. So what does the dynamic of a soulmate relationship look like? And maybe you would want to make a vision board of doing those things. Like, what is that dynamic? What are those values that you want to have show up in your soulmate relationship? And here's the thing that I think is really important. You do never, ever, ever, when you start thinking about I know a lot of people in our industry say, make a list of the qualities you want in that person. Please don't do that. That's not how it works, right? Like a lot of, people are coming up with the kind of car he drives and how tall he is or what cup size her bra is, whatever. Though your heart honestly doesn't care about those things. I mean, all of my friends used to tease me and call me the 6 foot and over club because I dated a lot of guys that were professional athletes and they tend to be tall. And so I dated a lot of guys over 6 feet tall. My husband was what, like 5'10"?
5'10" and a half.
5'10" and a half. I don't care that he's not over 6 feet tall. Who cares? So your heart doesn't care about those kinds of things. What your heart cares about is what is the dynamic between the two of you. And so that's the kind of things you want to focus on when you talk about bringing in a beloved, a soulmate, right? What happens when things go south? What happens when there's miscommunication? What happens when they start to point at the thing you don't want them to? Right? Whatever. I'm just saying, like, how do you? He's pointing at our little poster and tell us things to do, like intro us at 10 minutes in. Okay, so this is the deal. You want to be clear on how you want the relationship to function. Not clear on what the person looks like from the outside.
So I have to say something because we talked about my vision board with the
curly hair,
with the dark curly hair.
Yeah, he did.
And that was part of what I knew I was attracted to, but it wasn't the only thing I did. There's a lot of other things I did. I had a really specific list of the dynamic between us, of the things I was really interested in experiencing with another person. I did a whole other visualization process about what am I bringing to the relationship and what am I receiving from the relationship. So ultimately, there's more to do than just have a picture. The picture is helpful because it helps you see where you're going, but it's not the only step you want to take. So, like Orna said, step one, you're like, this year is the year I want my soulmate. Get clear on what that is. Get clear on the vision, get clear on the dynamic, get clear on the interaction between the two of you, because then you start to tell yourself, this is the thing that I want. This is the thing that I'm looking for. If you don't know what your soulmate relationship looks like, going online isn't going to change anything. All right, we're doing this again.
Yep. I like him.
Yeah, and then go back.
Look, I'm flying the plane, kids.
Oh my gosh.
And then hit mute and unmute.
Oh, and then unmute. Okay, hopefully we're fixing the mics thing. I don't know why that's the problem we're having tonight. We really did. We plugged everything. We took it apart and put it all back together, and nothing
different happening over here except for
I don't know,
the ether.
Yeah, the metaverse is against us. So Danielle asks, how long do you message and wait before meeting in person? So here's the thing. I know you're getting into those textationships. I'll tell you something. We wrote an article, I think it was like 2016, that the headline is something like, want love, stop texting. Mm-hmm. And the reason that we are going there so clearly and so hardcore is what you want to do is you want to know how comfortable you need to be to move to an in-person meet. So Danielle, I'm assuming you're a female dating men. And if that's the case, it's not really your job to move the relationship forward. So there's lots of ways to get a guy from text to call you. And the easiest way I know of is to literally send this text back. I'm starting to get curious what your voice sounds like. ... The ellipse is essential. Please put the ... I'm starting to get curious what your voice sounds like. That's it. Now, if he asks for if he sends his number, like you're supposed to call him. Yeah. Oh, he has your number because you're texting, but it might be messaging to the app.
Let's say messaging. You got it.
It might be messaging to the app.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm being very specific. I can let it go.
You're super literal. So if he doesn't have your phone number, he may write back with his phone number. You actually then want to it's kind of like tennis. You want to volley it back to his side of the court. You want to hit that ball the other side and say, I prefer that you call me. There's a reason, ladies, we're not asking you to date in 1952, I promise. But there's a reason why you want to see if the guy will take the lead, because that way you can eliminate the guys that are just looking for something easy with companionship that has no strings attached, and hopefully sex with no strings attached too. Mm-hmm. So you can eliminate those by never taking the lead. In a sense, it's the female's role in the dynamic to respond to respond. And the place where most women abdicate their power is they think when we say let the guy lead, they're hearing us that they're supposed to somehow follow. So you are not supposed to, quote, follow. You are not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to respond. So the man's job is to lead, and it is the woman's job to respond. So if he's moving too fast, slow him down. Don't abdicate your power. But if he's going too slow and just texting you endlessly, you can actually, that's the most polite way is I'm getting curious what your voice sounds like.
You can also make a request, and you always want to frame the request in as positive way as possible. You say, I'd feel really, excited to receive a phone call from you. Maybe excited is a little too strong of a word, but you tell him how you'd feel if he called you, or even just make a request. Say, I'd love for you to call me.
Yeah, you can actually, we've had a lot of clients basically text things like, I'm just so not into the texting thing. If you want to stand out from the crowd, call me. Literally, with the phone number.
If they can't call you, move on.
If they can't call you, move on. I'm going to tell you my favorite little, we don't usually tell a lot of dating stories from our past. It was so long ago when we were single, but I was online dating and I was on a particular site. And this guy and I, my picture literally is looked like me. My name was the same. But at some point in our messaging back and forth, he'd say, can I call you? And I'd send my number. And then he would disappear and not call. And then about 3 months later, he'd connect with me again. It's still, I have the same name. I have the same picture. And then he would get to the same place and say, can I call you? And I'd send my number. And then we did it again. He comes back, level messaging back and forth, can I call you? And I just wrote back the third time, apparently not. But I just, apparently he can't. He received my number twice before, never called. So, I don't know what to do with that person. That person isn't looking for a relationship. So when you start taking the other person's behavior as a sign of who they are and what they're capable of and where they are in their life, instead of taking it personally, you really want to date with non-attachment. Nothing is real until you meet in person, and that's like a crash course in what we teach on dating, and like crammed into this love intervention. Oh my God, we're doing a love intervention.
That's right, it's love intervention.
That's right. Hi, everybody. I know a bunch of people just jumped in, so I'm going to say hello. I'm Orna Walters.
And I'm Matthew Walters.
And this is Love Intervention. We're here to intervene in your love life, but in a good way, to end your loneliness, your frustration, your heartache, or just up-level your life, because when life is shared with someone you love, every part of your life is better.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, give us a like, give us a share. You can comment there with your questions. They'll be forwarded over here. If you're on YouTube, click the bell to subscribe. Once again, you can comment on YouTube, and the questions will come over here. We'll get all your questions answered.
I think there's something that I really... Oh, I'm going to learn echo again. You do it.
It goes back.
Boo. We're going to write...
I think we're looking for a new system. All right. Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully the echo's gone. So
hopefully the echo's
somewhere?
Gone. I really love all of these people that have specific goals about finding their soulmate this year. And I want you to ask yourself this question. You don't have to answer it even in the chat. I want you to journal and think about it, meditate on it, pray about it. How will you know it's your soulmate? So that's a little bit of a homework assignment for those of you. It's a little bit more advanced. And we don't usually do that on Love Intervention, but here I can't help but coach. So I'm going to say, again, it's a really important thing for you to know. How will you know it's your soulmate? And this is not like, I don't need you to put anything in the chat tonight. Think about it, pray about it, meditate on it, marinate with that question. How will you know? How will you know it's your soulmate? So there's something we really wanted to say. A lot of people have asked, what's the next step? What's my step? If I know I want my soulmate, what is my next step? Well, we're going to give you a next step because you can do it on your own, but it might take you longer than 11 and a half months. Right. It might take you a lot longer. The one sure way to reach a goal by a certain date is to have support. So if you think about anybody setting big goals in life,
Mhm.
whether it's a business executive or a professional athlete, what do they have?
I have a coach.
They have a coach. They
Yep.
have support. So if you want our support, this is really your opportunity to get personalized coaching from us that's going away, may not be available all the rest of the year. So I'm going to type it in the chat and I'm going to toss it to you.
Yep. We have a group program called Love on Purpose Mentoring. We just started on Saturday. There's only been one class so far. So for those of you who would be joining us, if you decide to jump in, that class was recorded. You'll get the recording of that class. And also, you'll be able to jump right in starting tomorrow night, which is our next Love on Purpose Mentoring
And
group.
you know what? I don't want you to worry if you have plans tomorrow and you're like, oh crap, I would miss you. You don't have to worry about it. Because the thing about Love on Purpose Mentoring is your personalized coaching happens when you're in the love seat with us. So we want to bring you into the love seat. It's all virtual. You dial in to a telephone conference line. There's no audio, mostly because we don't.
Video. There's audio. There's no
said
video.
It backwards. Of course, there's audio. What did I just say? I said there's no audio.
We do it in mime. We coach via mime.
I'm like face palm for real. I so misspoke. I think there's a disconnection between my brain and my mouth today. So there is audio, of course. There's no video. We're not doing it on Zoom or anything. We do it on our conference line. When you're in the love seat, we don't need anybody on video to coach you, and we don't want you to be self-conscious. So it's a plus, I promise you, that to have you don't have to worry about makeup, or you don't even have to put on a bra, ladies, if you don't want to. I don't care. But the thing about the mentoring is we're going to meet you where you are. The point of the group is not a soup to nuts program. It's for you to get your big breakthrough. Every participant is getting two chances in the love seat. So you'll get 2 opportunities. And I want to tell you something. The magic also happens when you're listening to us coach someone else in the love seat.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know there's a bunch of you in our mentoring group that started on Saturday or took it last time, so I want you to think about if you want to say something here in the chat. Here's your opportunity to brag about us if you want to, if you feel like it. You don't have to. But we have a special for those of you that are live with us. This promo code is going to be good for the next 48 hours. And then that's it. And we are cutting it off at a certain number of participants. It's a small, intimate group. But if you put in promo code LOVE in all capital letters and the number 100, you get $100 off the registration. And you can also split your registration in 2. So don't be fooled by the price on the page. When you go there, if you click it, you can see on the order form, you can split it into 2 payments and still get the $100 off. It's a better deal if you pay in full, though. So Love on Purpose Mentoring, all the details are there. I don't want to spend too much time today talking about it, but since so many people are saying, look, I'm looking for my soulmate this year, this is your opportunity to get your big breakthrough. So whatever pattern you're stuck in, there was somebody who was talking about a pattern of emotionally manipulative. Andrea, I'm sick of dating emotionally manipulative guys who don't ever commit. Here's the thing, if you know your pattern, if you're like emotionally unavailable, emotionally manipulative, narcissist, conceited, whatever your pattern of like, I don't want this anymore. Oh my gosh, that's a breakthrough. I know we can deliver 100% for sure here in the mentoring. Because what most people do is they're on high alert for the thing they don't want. And guess what? That's like trying to not think of a pink elephant. So everybody try to do that right now. Try not to think of a pink elephant. Don't think of it. Don't think of a pink elephant. Don't think of what are you doing? What are they doing?
Thinking of a pink elephant and then trying to like exit out. You can't do that.
Do you see this problem? People do this with dating all the time. Like, can you imagine going to look for a job where you're like, I'm looking for a job where I don't have to ask for a raise. Where do I never ask for a raise? That would be a weird, right? You don't go looking for a job that way. You look for a job by looking for the things, the benefits that you would get in the job. Are we having voice echo again? We're having voice echo. Give me a chance to sing. I'm not really a singer. I won't torture you like that. So we're going to click.
Okay, hopefully we're back.
Hopefully we're back and clear. So loveonpurposementoring.com. Put in love, LOVE 100 for $100 off. It's good for the next 48 hours only. We're going to limit enrollment. We already started last Saturday. We're going all the way. We have TBD dates depending on group size all the way through the end of February. We're going to make sure everybody has 2 turns in the love seat, a whole bunch of kick-ass bonuses that you also get.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go back to answering your questions because this is love intervention. Here we go.
All right, Julie, she says, I'm in my mid-50s and just started dating again after my divorce.
Yay!
I've heard that you shouldn't date a man over 50 who's never been married because that means he probably never will. Is this true? How do I weed out these men to avoid wasting time?
So again,
well, Julie,
it's that pink elephant thing
here
again.
Here we go, exactly. Julie, don't try weeding people out. That's not the way to do it. You're not trying to avoid things. You're trying to get dates. And you'll have...
And a lot of them.
And a lot of them. And so there are actually, we actually know of several men recently in their 50s who got married for the first time.
Yep.
So I don't know that's a myth. I know it's an old story. I'm not going to buy into it.
Urban myth.
I was over 40, single, before I got married.
I was over 40, never married.
So
I know I'm not a man.
All right. I don't think we need to talk about that much more.
Yeah. Well, while you look for the next thing, I'm going to elaborate on that. Okay. So we have a client who lives in London. She and her husband have been married like 3 years-ish. I think they got married right before the whole COVID thing. So she's Indian, but grew up in Hong Kong and lives in London. Very worldly woman. Mm-hmm. And when she started dating, after we were coaching her for a bit, because we don't start with dating in our coaching. I know we're weird, but that's true. First, we work on you. We do some inner work first. Then we send you off dating. So we sent her off dating in a very specific way. She came back because the second guy who reached out to her was also Indian. He's from India, living in London. And she says, I'm not going out with the Indian guy. I don't want to go out with any Asian men.
That's a lot of men she's excluding. Just
an entire continent of men wiped off her possibility now. Guess what? She's married to that guy. She's married to that guy because we said you can't eliminate a guy just because his nationality is the same as yours. You just can't. And it actually ended up being a real benefit. There's one thing, look, your mind is making up reasons to say no as if there's some kind of parameters to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. But it's keeping you safe from the thing you want. Have you ever thought about that? So it's not about having too many things that you want, right? If you want, the thing about the list thing that makes me cuckoo is people fill it like they're trying to plug loopholes. Like, I better have trust and honest and integrity on the list or something, like as if those just aren't foundational things that every person wants. Every person needs that. You don't have to worry about foundational things like doesn't deep me, right? I mean, I had somebody do that to me, right? I never had to worry about doesn't deep me because you know what? That's just a thing everybody wants. You don't have to include that. What's on your list is unique to you about the kind of dynamic and relationship you're looking to have, not the qualities of the person. So if you missed that part, go back to the beginning. We talked a lot about it.
Yeah. And there's this other piece about not wanting to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste my time. Well, I mean, if you connect with another human being and you find out that maybe you're not, romance material, but you will show up authentically and you authentically connect with another human being and you get to know them and you have a nice meal together or you have some coffee, right, or something, and then you part and then you go on with your life. How is that a waste of your time?
Never a waste of
time.
How
is that a waste of your time? Now, I get it. If you go on and you meet somebody and you show up authentic and you have an open heart and that person's kind of a jerk, or they're not very, they don't listen and they just blabber on and on and on and on and on. Well, I get that can be frustrating, but there's still something you can learn from that situation. Something you learn about yourself. Something
maybe you learn how to stick up for yourself.
Yeah, maybe you learn how to stand up and say, hey, you know what? This isn't really very enjoyable.
This isn't acceptable behavior to me. I'm leaving now. I did it. I met a guy. I left after like 5 minutes. I'd never done that before. But he was so off. I was just like, no. He started screening me like it was a job interview. And I said, is this a job interview? And he's like, no, I Googled you. And I was like, I'm out of here. I was like, sorry, I'm not in a job interview today. And I got up and I left. Oh my gosh, I'd never taken care of myself like that before. I felt taller. I won't ever forget it. It felt so good to take care of myself and not just be polite. So we're not asking you to be rude, but we are asking you to take care of yourself. You can always cut a date short.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a way to understand that none of these experiences are a waste of your time.
They never are.
They never are. They're all ways for you to learn and grow and get better and maybe connect and meet an interesting person, even if that person isn't your person.
You also never know how you're going to meet your person. I mean, I have a friend, one of my best friends from college is married to a guy whose brother I met on dating when I was single, obviously. So with this guy, I met this guy on JDate. We were messaging back and forth, and then we ended up setting up a double date for our first meet. I brought my friend, he brought his brother. Those two ended up getting married. That's how it happens, kids. You just got to be open. You got to be open. You got to be open for love. So if you want love in 2023, open up. And I really love that we've got some great people in our mentoring group. I love that a bunch of you were here tonight. I know Andrea says, I don't know what a soulmate relationship looks like. Well, you're looking at one right now. Your soulmate relationship will not necessarily look like ours, though. And I think that this is important because a soulmate relationship looks like this. Here we go. Ready? It's not in your frame. Yours is not. There we go. So soulmate relationship looks like this. Both people give thumbs up. I'm thumbing up Matthew and he's thumbing me up. So soulmate relationship doesn't look like this.
No.
Or like this.
No. Certainly doesn't look like this.
No. So if I choose him but he doesn't choose me, that's not a soulmate relationship. Or,
hey, you're great.
No.
Oh, no.
It's got to both be I choose you and they choose you, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be both ways. And that's what a soulmate relationship looks like. None of this is magic. It's not we're not here because everything went right. So many things went wrong. Oh my gosh. I could spend all night telling you that all the things that went wrong. You'd be bored. We're here because it's important to know how to do this. And we're going to talk more about that. Actually, we'll be back in 2 weeks with our next Love Intervention on January 31st. Same time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. I want to thank our team. Yep. Thank you so much. I know we had audio issues tonight. We're going to reach out to Vimeo and make sure that we can fix it or do something. Because on our end, everything is the same as it's always been. I don't know why we had that problem. But we want to thank you all for showing up and showing up for yourself and sharing your word for the year, your goals for the year that you have for yourself. And remember, you don't have to change or do a whole lot. You want to pick something and be consistent with it. So pick the bigger goal and then chunk it down. Start doing one thing towards that goal, then add another when that one's a habit, then add another and then another. And if you really want love in 2023, you got to do a couple things. You want to go on dates 2 to 3 times a week. And if you're not sure how to get 2 to 3 times a week on a date, then join us on Love on Purpose Mentoring. And even if you know how to get dates 2 to 3 times a week, join us on Love on Purpose Mentoring. Because no matter where you're stuck, the goal is to get you unstuck. So you can bring in love this year. It's www.loveonpurposementoring.com. For the next 48 hours, you can use the promo code. What is it again?
Love 100. LOVE, all caps 100.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Love Intervention. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Have a great night.